My name is Amin, but everyone calls me Drew. See, Amin, it means honest. Nobody calls me Amin. I'm often asked why I don't go by my given name. My answer, usually clumsy and underwhelming, a sort of snowball made of desert sand. In 2008, 2 years after my father passed away, I went to visit his family in Jordan. I saw some of them, like Hiba and Dalia and Naida and Naila, for the very first time, and they were very interested in this new moniker of Drew I was going by. Who is Drew? Where is he from? He's not getting any of my tabbouleh. My laugh after that is always a little too awkward. One morning, I went to the grocery store with my grandfather, a proud man who shares my first name but wears his, like the Kuwaiti war medals he keeps on the top shelf next to his Quran. Before we entered the store, he slipped a Palestinian flag into my back pocket. And as we picked over figs in the produce section, a man approached me, saw the flag in my pocket, and asked if I was Palestinian. لا أمريكي شوي عربية. There goes that awkward laugh again. When I got home, my grandfather pulled me to the side, looked at me in a way that only military men can, and said, "You, Amin, are the son of my son, the bearer of my first name. You are Palestinian, so welcome to Palestine. Sometimes we bury our children here, where the light at the end of the tunnel is a checkpoint, where we have no statues, no land to bury them on. I will not lie to you. Some of our people would rather avenge their fathers than raise their sons. We are clumped and uneven like the soil we wish to have back. There will be other people that will mock you and say they have stolen your holy land. But Amin, it is called holy land. If God is inside all of us and we walk with our souls, then truly all the ground we touch is holy. I pray for the morning I wake up and nobody has a war story. All of my medals have been turned to dust. This is for my grandfather, who died earlier this year and will never hear this poem. For my great-grandmother, who would speak to me for hours knowing I did not understand a lick of Arabic, and all of my cousins who only know me by my grandfather's name, this is my coming out party. Hi, my name is Amin Andrew Amjad Dallal, named after both of my grandfathers. Holding up my family tree like an iron hammock, I know my flesh is of a half-breed, but my soul is a man from Nablus with a West Bank backbone and a craving for cooked yogurt and pine nuts. I know now that your language is mine, your pain is mine, and your fight is mine. So to the man in the grocery store, I am Palestinian, and my name is Amin. It means honest. You can call me Amin. I wrote the poem because I sort of started existing in this world where I was my father's son again, and I felt like I hadn't been that in a long time, and I was reevaluating what that meant to be my father's son instead of this very interpersonal relationship that we had. I went overseas, I saw his family, which is really my family, and you start to gain that identity. So it was really important for me to write something that, you know, didn't encompass all of that, but just this very specific sort of context with my name, and just how I sort of Americanized myself in this household that really wasn't American, but allowed me to do that. And as I become an adult, I realized that's not what I wanted. And this is sort of what came about when I wrote the poem. My favorite line of the poem definitely has to be the opening, just where I have a conversation sort of with the audience, telling them what my name is Amin. Everyone calls me Drew. Amin means honest. Nobody calls me Amin. That actually was the first. I actually wrote a poem that was just that. And then I sort of expounded on that because I felt it necessary to do that. But I feel like that sets the entire tone of the poem. And anytime you can create the context with your first line, I think it makes the entire poem a lot smoother. Clearly I wanted to achieve something in myself and sort of create this domino effect internally. In most of my poems, I desire to do that, to sort of motivate myself But outside of that, as a microcosm for so many other people who have written poems about their names and have this strange duality of, being Americanized but coming from this other place. And just wanting people to explore that as much as possible and explore why the way we say our names, or the way that our names are spelled, or the way that we sort of make them more palatable for an American pronunciation or whatever it may be. Let's evaluate those things. Let's figure out exactly why we feel the need to Americanize so much of ourselves.